Hello, and welcome to an episode of Philosophical Bones. I'm Nick,
I'm Keith.
and it's been a little bit. It's been about a month, hasn't it?
Yeah, hey, we're getting back in the studio though.
Yeah, we got a lot going on with our.
Both of us are doing stuff.
Yeah,
So
we do have stuff.
yeah, like the podcast is still super important to us, so we try to make time to put it together.
Yeah, we've kind of got our lives
Yeah,
going in a million miles a second.
Until we start getting paid for this, we got to do other things.
We got to make a living, right? Anyway, so question 28 now is what is the value of human life? And I actually want to say, all of a sudden this question came to mind because you were talking about how you want to do an episode with Where's the Line podcast?
Yeah.
About the body farming?
Body farming, yeah.
Okay, so that's where it came from.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, what is the value of human life? About $350.
Damn Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah. It was about $350?
About $350.
About $350.
So like I'm gonna like jump us off so you talk about the value of human life. You actually have to start thinking about different cultures of like what is important. What's
we're
not.
gonna go off on a lot of different aspects of this, which is what we like to do. That's what interests me in this question.
Yeah. So like you think about the value of human life. So I'm gonna start off with let's go with the Aztecs.
Okay.
So they would do human sacrifice. So the value of human life on that point is really high.
Didn't they do that like murder sports game, or was that like the Incas or something?
That was the Incas. That was Inca. It was like basically basketball, but
if you won, you died. I think.
Yeah, it was like basically basketball, and you had to use your hips.
Yeah.
And like you had to literally hit the ball with your hips through this hole, and if you won, you got sacrificed.
Great game.
So that takes the value of human life really, really high. And then you get sorry, dogs. But so what I'm going to get at is so the value of human life. There's God damn it, lady. So like you
This
need
is what happens when we do a show.
yeah. So you need to think about what the consequences are of being alive and dying.
Okay.
So you think about like the Incas, you think about the Aztecs, you think about there was another one that I had on the top of my head.
Mayans.
The Mayans. Oh yeah, they do a lot of human sacrifice. So the value of human life there is really high. And then you get into the Americas much, 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 much later. You say you're a homicide victim. It's about as much time as they can pay somebody to look into it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it comes to like human life, it's a lot of it, we'll get into this later, is like the soul value of it, the individual person like caring about it. But like at the core of it, the value of human life is sacrifice. And so what I mean by sacrifice is you think about the Celts, you think about the Romans, you think about people that would sacrifice to get a better harvest, get what they want. Like there's a lot of cultures that was even think about hoodoo. Like they would sacrifice human life to get something in return.
Actually, one thing that just popped in my head was with Roman god or Greek gods, how they would constantly sacrifice like virgins to get what they wanted.
Yeah, so that's where you really got to think about the value of human life. Like they put a not quite a monetary value. Like they was okay, if we
especially if you were a slave.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, see that's a whole nother concept.
But no, we'll get into that. But keep going.
But what I'm getting at is so say you say whatever your culture is you have to sacrifice two people to have a harvest that was fruitful. That was fruitful. That you actually had enough to eat for your family, for your settlement. You had to take somebody out and sacrifice them.
Or you'd sacrifice your daughter or something.
Well, and then that even gets into dowry and stuff like that.
Okay.
What dowry means, right?
No.
So dowry is
I think it's supernatural for some reason.
So what a dowry is say you have a daughter and you sell her. That's a dowry. You
ever sell your daughter?
No. Fuck no. Fuck no. That's fuck off, man.
I get you a little speechless, man. Or I don't know. I think you might have sold a daughter once.
Maybe once. But
you need some beer money.
As important,
sorry, we're fucked up.
As important one.
We're just fucked up people.
Yeah. So like when it comes to dowry, you
I
know,
wouldn't even sell my dog, man.
fuck no, man. Okay. But like I'm continuing on the topic here. So like if you really get into dowry, there's a lot of stuff like Genghis Khan actually would do dowries with his, because that guy had like fucking 50 children.
No, he had like 100. Well, they say he like.
Oh, I was going on the low end. Like I didn't know the exact number.
They say like what is it, like half the population of Mongolia like has his DNA.
Half the it's like some weird percentage of the entire planet has some of his.
Yeah, because he fucks so many people. It's true. It is true.
So, like, continuing on the topic, like, I'm just keeping this rolling.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good. Like, so think about like people that have like a bounty on their head.
Mm-hmm.
That was like.
I didn't even thought of that.
Yeah. So, like, think about like, so and so. Like, because I remember specifically, I watched a documentary last night that Billy the Kid, his life was worth $2,000.
That was it.
Yeah. Well, think about the money.
Still,
think about the money.
Seems a little low for Billy the Kid. I mean, but honestly, we've romanticized him over the years.
Yeah. He killed 19 people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest one I can think of right now, like, is what Osama bin Laden was worth, like 10 million.
Yeah, yeah. And and then think about when they found Saddam Hussein, and like he was like in a.
He was in the playing card deck.
Yeah. But like what I'm getting at this point is talking about like bounties. Mm-hmm. So like think about like the.
That's the only time you really know how much money you're worth.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's the only time a real monetary value gets put on your head.
Well, yeah, and I actually want to bring this up because I was talking to Keith a little before we started, and I watched Patriot Act with Hassam Minhaj. Really good. They were doing one on cruises, and they were like, they actually had a cruise line had a specific value for each human body part, and it was like for Filipino workers, and because everyone wants to know, a dick is worth around 26 grand. But it was like if you got a hand cut off or a leg or an arm, like it was worth a certain amount of money. Like you would get paid out that amount of money.
That's crazy.
I don't know what the total value. I can't remember what the total value was on a person, but it was probably around like maybe 100, 200 grand.
That's crazy. Well,
but that just tells you how much okay, that tells you how much money you're worth. Well, at least to a cruise line.
I was like, man,
speechless, man.
Yeah. Well, like you think about like the black market with like kidneys and lung and stuff like that. Like I have no idea what that's.
Well,
all
even
about.
like the slave trade is something that people don't really like to think about. But there's still, I think they say there's more people in slavery now than there were back when slavery was still legal.
That's fucked.
Or it was still really very predominant out in the rest of the world.
Well,
when the U.S. was still practicing the slave trade.
Well, and particularly Persia has a lot of people in servitude.
There's something like 3 million people in slavery.
That's insane.
Like that.
That's fucking insane.
That's what, and then especially with like the sex slaves, and it does happen a lot. And you actually do hear a lot of stories about Americans, like American women, getting caught in the slave trade, and especially in like the sex trade.
See that's one that really like gives me the willies.
Well, you look at like the movie Taken.
Yes.
Like that girl, like his daughter got caught in that whole thing of like.
I don't know who you are, but I'm going to find you and have a very specific set of skills.
Yeah, but that's still a very big thing nowadays. Is that, and I that's one thing I really like look at, and I'm like, why is this still happening? And who's ever found like guilty of that should honestly have like a life sentence.
Oh, dude. Well,
in my opinion, that should be like a life sentence.
I say put him to death, man.
Fucking A.
So okay. Here we go.
I'm very torn on the death penalty, but I'm like, you know what? Life in prison. They should be life in prison with a possibility for parole at like 50 years.
So here we go on this.
Fuck those people.
Exactly, fuck those people. But
because they do put a value on human life.
So here we go on this question.
Yeah.
What do you think about the death penalty? Dude, come on.
We're getting political on this, are we?
This is this question. I feel
I'm a little bit on both sides.
I feel that it's negligible. It's not. It's not. Well, it's like so. Say if so Jeffrey Dahmer, would you put him to death? See, exactly.
Well, some people I feel should be meant to suffer. Like they should have to suffer in jail, rot in jail for the rest of their lives.
Answer my question, Jeffrey Dahmer. Would you put him to death?
I don't know. Well, one thing though too I will mention is because it is a big thing and why people do want to get rid of the death penalty. And a very good reason is there have actually been a decent amount of people who have been on death row who have
That were innocent.
that were innocent, and have been found to be innocent and like off of like DNA evidence.
Well, so like we're on another tangent, but
I'm more of like give them life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Well, we're on something that's important here right now. Like, so we're talking about the value of human life,
and that actually goes in. I mean, because you are talking about either executing someone and getting rid of the cost of having to pay and to ruin board them, or leaving them to rot in jail like Manson for the rest of their lives, and having to pay that bill. So in a way, you're putting a cost on like, okay, how much? Well, it's like actually with the prison system, it's like you are putting a cost on how much their life is worth.
Absolutely.
And you see so much fucked up shit with the prison system nowadays.
Let me kind of put this at you. Like, I'm just gonna come up with a couple people, and you give me a yes or no.
Okay.
So let's say Richard Ramirez.
Oh well, after listening to your Roof of This Villain's True Crime Corner.
Shout out.
Good couple episodes, by the way. You haven't listened to him? Really good.
Yeah.
Ramirez, I fucking kill that guy.
Put him to death.
He
needs to not be around anymore.
Because he's never going to learn. He's never going to suffer for it. He's never going to sit in prison and be like, oh, I wish I would have done that. No, he would be like, if you let me out right now when I'm fucking 90,
he even admitted.
I'll still go out and kill people.
Well, he even admitted that he would do that.
Yeah.
What about Jim Jones?
I don't know Jim Jones.
Okay.
I think I know the name, but I can't remember what he did.
Heaven's Gate.
That guy was just nuts, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Let him rot in jail.
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
he'd probably be in a fucking mental institution.
Okay, so let me think of one more. Let's say Gacy. Yes.
I don't really know a ton about Gacy, but
well, I could educate you right quick and give you.
Give me something quick.
Okay, so real quick. Okay, so he raped and killed little boys and kept them. Death, exactly.
Well, it's like you look at pedophiles.
So, but what is it? Why?
I have no like whatever anyone wants to do to a fucking pedophile. In fact, they always say whenever those guys go in jail, they get fucked up.
Yeah,
which rightly they should be.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're predators, man.
Yeah, they really are.
They're a predator. Okay, so this kind of sticks on like what I'm talking about. So, say you have somebody that's just an outright predator. Mm-hmm. What's their value? What's their value of life?
Oh,
like somebody that's a straight up predator. They're sick. There's no saving them. There's just what is their value of life? Like think about like our value of life of going to work every day, paying bills and stuff like that.
One thing I just thought, and this might be a little off. I mean, it's definitely a little bit off what you're saying, but
throw it at me.
But well, actually, there was an episode of Black Mirror about like an app where it was like a Facebook app, but you rated people. It was Bryce Dallas Howard was in it, and it was an app though where you rate people on like how they would
like get thumbs up and thumbs down, basically.
Like 5 stars, 4 stars. It's like, oh, I'm at it was like a way of like putting certain people into certain categories. It was a class system almost. But this isn't even what I'm really thinking about. Like apparently in Hong Kong now.
Oh, they definitely have that.
They're videotaping everybody, and they're giving people a rating on like the way they act with certain people, and they're actually keeping people from getting certain jobs now if you don't meet that certain rating.
Oh man,
and they're putting a value on your life in that way.
That's scary.
And it's like one of those ways where you can't really climb about it. But you could even go into say that with America, you can go into whatever, like say a certain economic status you're born into, and even millionaires and billionaires will say this, like if you're born into a certain system, like say you're born into poverty, there's pretty much no way you're gonna ever get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a very, very like hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Like me and you both were probably born in the more like middle class.
I would say middle class. Yeah.
I would say like maybe lower middle class. I think Boza.
Well, my father was a mechanic.
Yeah, I was an airplane mechanic. He was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
But I grew up well in a decent place, and I didn't really like want for stuff. We take vacation every once in a while.
I definitely did.
I could eat.
Well, yeah, I get what you mean. What you mean. Yeah.
So it's probably a middle class life.
Yeah, I never went hungry. I never, anything.
And even now, I like kind of strive to have that kind of balance.
Yeah.
I actually don't feel like if I were to have kids right now, if I say I was in the same situation my dad was in, fucking, I wouldn't I couldn't have done it. I couldn't do it right now.
Well, like here's another one. Like, okay, so we're talking about like the value of life. My situation right now is I'm too selfish to have a child. So
I completely agree.
So think about the value of life completely right there. Like I'm just too, like not to like take away from another child being born. but it would be a lot for me, and it would take away from my quality of life.
You know, just thought of though is that we talk about. Well, this might be more value of time, but just look at the like just the way we're given a wage, like a monetary wage for our time.
All right.
In a way, we're kind of being given a price on ourselves.
Pretty much, man.
You know,
pretty
like
much.
we're given a value of
That's
like okay,
that's your
that's how
dollars
much
per
I'm
hour.
worth.
That's your dollars per hour, man.
That's actually the best way to equate this whole thing. Is,
It's your dollars per hour.
yeah, is like okay, how much do you make an hour? How much do you make a year? It's like oh well, I make $30,000 a year, or I make $50,000 a year, or oh I make $2 million a year. That's putting a price on human life in a way.
What would it? Okay,
It's pretty fucked up to think about,
is,
isn't
really
it?
is, it
It
really
was
is.
something I never would have guessed. Thought about.
Okay, so
Until like 2 minutes ago.
what would the number be? So you had a gun in your hand.
Well, everybody feels like they have no value, or they don't have a monetary value to their life. But you know what? I think everyone kind of does.
Do. So what would it take? You say you had a gun in your hand.
Yeah.
And you had we'll just say a nondescript person on their knees in front of you. What would it take for you to pull the trigger? Right? Right?
I
like you don't know anything.
I don't
about
believe
this person.
I don't believe in killing people. Personally,
See, that's a fucked up question, right? The reason I asked that was because I knew you couldn't answer it.
no.
Like because that's the thing is I don't think that there is a price for human life. Like if I had a pedophile on his knees in front of me, he wouldn't have to pay me anything.
I just recently went on a few dates with a girl who works for like a defense company,
Oh, okay.
and she like programmed missiles. And I mean, yeah, and like I kind of enjoyed it, and like, but at the same time, like I had this little bit of thing where like I kind of had I kind of had a little bit of a moral problem with her job. Or an ethical problem with her job, because she's like, yeah, I like program missiles to go pew pew, and she was like kind of like, I'm like, wait, you program missiles to like work better and kill more people? And I'm like, and it seemed like she had nothing wrong with doing something like that.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, that's
her job was putting that together.
yeah. And I was like, I don't like personally, if I had her same skills, like I don't think I could do like, yeah, you make a really lot of money for these fucking defense contractors, but I think I would have too much of an ethical dilemma.
It'd be rough.
Working for a place like that, like because I never want to do anything that could even indirectly lead to someone dying.
Well, think about the people.
That's why I never wanted to go in the military, because I'm like I don't want to do any kind of action that could indirectly lead to someone dying. Like even just like working on an airplane and fixing the engines, that could lead to them that same plane dropping bombs and killing someone.
Well, think about the people.
I don't want to have anything to do with that.
Think about the people that fly drones.
Mm-hmm. I know a guy like that. I see a guy every once in a while. I go when I got drinking on Tuesdays with my friend Greg. I know a guy who like pilots drones. Yeah,
Drones that drop bombs.
yeah.
See, that's
He's killed.
rough.
I think he's talking about like fucking killing people with fucking drones.
See, that's rough.
And
That's
it's like
rough.
nothing to him.
That's rough. That's fucking rough. And anybody that knows me, listen to the show, like I talk about serial killers and stuff all the time.
And what is their life valued at?
Exactly. It's like, what is his dollar value?
Yeah.
Like somebody that sits behind the screen and pushes a button.
You remember the original Death Race movie, the Roger Corman?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Well, they put a point value on people.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you get
$10,000.
Yeah, you get 10 points for hitting an adult male. You get 10,000 for hitting a woman who's pregnant. Or something like that.
Because it's
or like it's 50,000 for hitting a child.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man.
I think people inevitably always will put a value on human life. Actually,
well, we're programmed for that. I think a little bit.
we do kind of do that. Like 10 points. 13 points.
Well, what I mean when I say we're programmed for that is we are basically at our core like, okay, is this person more important? Is this person more important? Is this person more like?
We are constantly judging people.
Like think about the president. Okay, so if we fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump.
Fuck Donald Trump.
But like I'm just saying like
we're actually getting a little political in this episode, which we never do. We try not to, but
a little bit. But what I'm getting at is like, okay, say the president to a taxi driver, who would have more money behind them as far as like getting killed. I mean, I say
who would care?
The president.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so like your stance in life kind of actually does kind of correlate to the money that you're worth. And that kind of sucks.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's true.
Kind of sucks. You know what I mean? But like there's all people in all walks of life benefit us, but sadly there is a number on them. It's like you're in a video game with a digital number on top of your head.
Well, we constantly judge people. I mean, just by looking at them. Like I was on a job the other day, and I was like, and I just saw these people, and like, well, I actually see this all the fucking time. Like, just certain places I'll go in town because I'm always at different points, and I'll be like, oh man, this fucking white trash right there, or this or that. And I'm like, yeah, you guys are pieces. Like, I can just look at you and I'm like, you're a piece of shit.
You're a piece of shit.
I'm like, you know what, and you know what, I will kind of be like, I'll sound real shitty right now. I'll say like, you know what, my life is better than yours. I'm like, you know what, I hate to say something like that, but it's kind of true. I'm like,
well, I get what you mean.
I just assign more value to my life than I do theirs. I don't think they're. It sounds bad. Like I sound fucking terrible saying all this shit.
Well, no. What you're saying. Here's the thing: is like we're talking about the value of human life. Like you got to put the most value on your own life.
Yeah.
You gotta put. That's where the most value has to be.
I was just thinking of this too. As I was talking to you earlier about this girl who was saying like, I was telling her about like working and shit. I'm like, no, I'd rather go home early. I got a dog, and she's been pissed off at me lately.
Oh fuck!
And she's just like, that's why you don't have a dog. And I'm just like, fuck you, like. And everyone said this too, like who has a dog, they're like, yeah, that's fucked up. Like I can't believe she said that. And I'm like, you know what? I was thinking about it, I think a couple like yesterday, the day before. And I was like, you know what? If there was a fire and my dog was in there and you were in there, I'd save my dog over you.
Oh, dude, I would save my dog.
What does that tell you? That's the value of her life for me.
Well, here's my thing: is like I
sound like such a horrible person.
No, man. Here's my thing: say there's a fire, I don't care who's in the building. I'm grabbing my dog first.
Oh fuck yes!
I don't care who is in the building. It could be my dad. Oh, ooh. But yeah, it could be my dad, and I would.
You'd save your dad first.
No, my dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We do love our dogs.
Yeah.
They're our daughters.
Well,
what if you had a wife though? Would you save your wife or your dog?
Dude, that's rough. That's fucking rough. That's fucking rough.
Oh.
I would make my wife grab my dog and carry them both out together. That's the
good job.
That's a proper answer.
Good job.
Like grab the dog and I'm gonna pick you up and I'm gonna carry you out. Not to say that like the males are the only people that can like save anything, but if I walked in the house on fire and I had a wife and my dog was there, I'm like, grab the dog, I'm gonna drag you both out. Anyway.
Well, the thing is though, is the dog probably be smart enough to get out of the house.
Not my dog.
It's true. My dog I think would be though.
No. Leia
I'd like, Marla, come.
Leia's like, there's a barbecue.
And in fact,
barbecue.
I think Marla like, looked at me and her tail started wagging a little bit. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Leia would be like, barbecue?
Yeah. Just grab the treat bag.
Let's go.
I swear, every time I go in my fridge to grab treats, like she can hear it.
Oh man.
She knows. She just knows.
So like I think we've covered a lot of good topics here. Like
what was some other? Do you want to get into some other stuff?
Oh, what would it take for you to kill somebody?
That wasn't part of the question, man.
Yeah, yes it is.
What would it take for me to kill somebody?
Yes, it is. The value of human life, because you would have to calculate the value of human life for that. Like somebody breaking into your house aside. Like say somebody broke in your house and you had to use a firearm or something like that. But like aside, for you to go out and decide to kill somebody, what would that take?
To just be like, I'm gonna take a gun and go out and kill somebody.
Whatever weapon you decided.
Do I get to choose who I'm killing?
Of course.
Just a really bad fucking asshole.
That's the question.
Well, that gives me a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but am I getting away with this?
Yes, you get away.
I will get away with this?
You get away with it.
Ooh. I'd have to pick a really good one.
That's a good question, right?
Ooh.
That's a good question. Like
I don't want to say who I would want to.
No, don't use the name. Use.
I'm just trying to think of who I would.
For me, it would be the best way I can put it is okay. Actually, I'm going to use a name. The guy that. Actually,
it'd probably be a political figure for me.
Well, for me, I'm actually drawing a blank at the guy's name. There was a mass shooting.
I never would, but...
Well, there was a mass shooting here in Tucson. I forget the guy's name. Jared something.
Was the one who shot Gabby Givers?
Yeah, that guy. Oh, I'd kill that guy. I'd kill that guy. It's on... Oh, my God. It's on record now. Oh.
It's not like you ever...
Well, he hurt people, man. He hurt people.
You think the FBI is going to start listening to us now?
Well, they probably already do. Like I do shows about Jeffrey Dahmer and
That's
Richard
true.
Ramirez. They probably already. But they'd probably like listen to this and be like, all right, let's give Rufus a gun.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's why they do that.
Oh, that's
Or maybe that's why they keep track of you.
Fuck.
Oh, we're so fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't we go any further with this one? You think?
So let's real quick before we end it out, like, what do you think the value of human life is at its core? Is it spiritual? Is it human? Is it cultural? Like, at its core, the value of human life.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things, like we said in the last episode, like beauty is only in the eye of the beholder. It's like we think our lives are invaluable. We think there's no price on our.
But if we're gone,
it'd be like one of those things where like, okay, if your family received $10 million, a certain monetary value, if you died, would you do it? And in fact that way you're kind of assigning a value to your life.
I would though. Like if it gave my family members just
like financial security,
I'd do it. Like if I had a wife or children, and that money went to her, them, no problem.
I mean,
but then again, my wife or children would have to deal with me being
the
gone.
value of your life and human life is really only measured, by like what you think it's worth. I mean, because you could have serial killers out there who life is not worth a goddamn thing.
Shit, we didn't even get into that.
I'm thinking of like I remember like I was at a bar recently and like they had on like House of 1,000 Corpses, and those people are fucked up. But you know what? They have zero.
The boogeyman is real.
They have zero like value for human life. They don't care. Like you're worth as much as like a fucking ant to them.
Yeah. See, we didn't even.
They don't care. They make you suffer or do anything, and like their like life to them is worth nothing.
We didn't even get into that, and I won't get crazy about it. But like somebody that is a psychopath, somebody that has sociopathy, human life is zero. Zero.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really about
it's your
personal opinion.
Yeah. So what's the value of human life?
About $350.
About $350. Goddamn Loch Ness monster.
Sorry, I kind of wanted to end on it. I kind of wanted to say that again.
About $350.
I don't think it really has a price.
I don't have an answer.
But I mean, people many times now or in the past, in the future, people always put a value on human life. I mean, you could even go like taking a person into space.
Well,
it costs $10 million to put someone in space.
One person. Well, think
that's how much your life is worth.
Think about the like organ transplants.
Yeah, we constantly put a value on human life.
Yeah.
We do. And if you're in I think a lot of it depends on the class system you're in. If you're a really, really rich person, your life's worth a hell of a lot more money than someone who's like completely poor and like living on the street like a homeless person.
And has cancer.
Your life isn't worth shit. They don't care. Nobody your life is not worth dick.
See, like, and we didn't really even get into that, but that's rough. That's really rough.
But it's
like,
true.
If you're somebody that
unfortunately,
it was super unfortunate. Like, say, like
all human life is just not valued the same.
Yeah, and that sucks.
It sucks, but it's a fact.
Well, I have to. My answer to the question is unfair. That's my answer.
I will say that I think more people nowadays are definitely. I think getting better. I think people are getting better. I really do. Like, I think that every month, every year, people are getting better about caring about other people. Because I look at like when you see these like mass shootings or natural disasters, and I see how people come together now to like help.
Well, there's nothing that brings humans. There's nothing that brings humans together more than tragedy.
Exactly.
Which kind of sucks.
But it seems like more than ever, people are willing to help out those people affected by tragedy. So I have a brighter outlook on the future.
I wish I did.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's going to be quite a while.
Yeah, well, and like think about like it's something you brought up a minute ago. Like think about like say a random homeless person has cancer. A rich person that has cancer is going to get that taken care of.
Yeah, well, you look, if there was an apocalypse on the planet and they can only take, 1 million people or 1 billion people off the planet, they're gonna fucking start judging like, all right, who's more valuable than
Yeah,
this person?
who has more?
And you put a value on human life at that point.
It's not who's an engineer. It's not who's a doctor. It's not who's got skills to survive. It's like how much money do they have?
Yeah, unfortunately, we put a value on human life every day even in our own lives. I mean, ask the listeners out there, ask yourself that question.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who do you your wife? You probably put like, oh, if actually, I think one thing I thought of was like, oh, well, if someone were put up for ransom, it's like when they say like, oh, pay us $50,000 or you're never gonna see your wife again.
Oh, dude, I would go fucking Liam Neeson on that shit. I would go Liam Neeson on that shit.
But it's like, okay, you get to a certain point that you're like, you might be someone who's rich and be like, I can afford to pay $1 billion, but I'm not going to pay it because I'm like, I don't think they're worth that much money.
Well, how about you hire Liam Neeson? Sorry.
He does have a very particular set of skills.
Yeah. I was trying to be funny there.
Including being a drunk fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's true. But still.
It's Liam Neeson.
Well, guys, thanks for being here with another episode of Philosophical.
Yeah, this has been question 28. What is the value of human life?
And
we had some interesting points to make.
Well, I encourage you guys.
And hopefully I didn't come off too much like an asshole. I'm sorry I keep cutting you off.
No, you're fine. Well, I encourage you guys to think about this question yourself.
Yeah. And in the end, I just want to say, keep thinking.